Hello, beloved soul seekers listening to the You-est podcast. This is Julie, as you know, and I am, as always, really honored and thrilled and grateful to be here with you. And I'm excited to talk to you and share with you our guest today. I think you're going to love this conversation. So I wanted to introduce you to Dr. Cortney Baker. Dr. Cortney Baker is an award-winning entrepreneur. She is a podcast host, researcher, author. She's a TEDx speaker and a nationally recognized authority on women's leadership. Her experience founding and growing KidsCare, a multi-million-dollar enterprise that has provided healthcare to over 50,000 children with special needs from Texas to Colorado, offers her the unique opportunity to leverage her depth of experience to help women who are in positions similar to the one she was in 15 years ago. In her work, Cortney helps mentor millennial women side hustlers to transition to CEO of their businesses, and something many of them often find scary, so she helps them to do that. You can learn more about Cortney and the work she does at CourtneyBaker.com. And just so you also know, Dr. Baker has been featured on Fox News, iHeartRadio, Huffington Post, and Forbes, and has spoken internationally for organizations like the Fortune 500 companies, associations, and with entrepreneurs. And I will tell you, getting to know Cortney myself, just one of the more genuine, authentic, kind women leaders I know. So without further ado, I'm so happy to have you here today, Cortney. Thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Julie. It's good to be here with you.
So, okay, first of all, I love your accent, and I just need to say that. I'm like, keep speaking. I don't even need to ask questions. Just talk as much as you can.
Thank you. It's the Dallas in me.
I love it. I love it. So, a lot of the conversation that we like to have here is about this idea of living into your higher self, your higher purpose, what I call your You-est you. And curious to hear a little bit about how you've really shifted your life to be doing what reflects your You-est you, your highest self.
Mm-hmm. So when I started my company, when I was 28, I really started with the desire to be the best employer that I could be. And really start a company where I wanted people to look around and say, I could go here, I could go there, I could go anywhere, but I choose to go to KidsCare Home Health.
Mm.
And through that transition, I have learned so much about me and my leadership and just leading a company the right way and keeping true to that core message. And really, like you and I have talked about before for my podcast, just following that gut intuition of making it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to go more into the gut intuition. Before we do that, I know in your bio, and it talks about you were in a similar position 15 years ago. Maybe just talk a little bit about what you mean by that, or what was happening for you.
Well, I had just gotten married, and it was right after September 11th when I started my company. It was in 2003. My husband had been laid off and then gotten a job working the night shift at a warehouse. We were expecting, there were all these things, life things going on. And, there were so many times where I felt like I can't do it. I just can't do it. And hard. I'd have the covers pulled over my head on a Friday morning and find out that we had no money in the bank. And he'd come in after working the night shift and probably given himself a 30-minute pep talk on the way home and pull those covers back and say, Cortney, get up. If it was easy, everyone would do it. You got a job to do and people are depending on you. Get up. You got this. And so, to just be able to talk to those people, and I have shifted a little bit in that I now help women, no matter what age they are, start their own businesses, providing services to clients. So it's just it's so needed to have someone who can, the value of mentorship.
Absolutely. So take us from that, you're under the covers, you're telling yourself, get up, um, to the journey today. And I know that's quite a span, but um, how did because I think those listening, there are many people that I felt this way before. Like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to deal with this situation? It can sometimes feel like a very long road, especially if there's, you look in your account and there's very little money there, or you've
Mhm.
got debt, or you're starting a business and it's like, oh God, I'm right here in the beginning. Like, it just seems like it's going to be years before I'm out of this.
Mhm.
How did you get from there to where you are now? What are some of your tips?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing is you've got to have someone in your corner, a
Yeah.
cheerleader who will not just be there for the rah rah, but also tell you the hard stuff
Yeah.
with love. Speaking the truth with love is the biggest gift someone can give you.
Mm,
And having my husband in my corner, but also knowing that we were two just very um, I knew, Julie, I just had this I knew I was supposed to start this company. I mean, I had been told, God had told me, you will start this company. And I thought, yeah,
mm,
I'll do it, but I need your help.
mm. Tell us a little more. Love to go into the land of kind of intuition and knowing. And so when you say, for you, it felt like God telling you, what did that look like, feel like? Did you see something? Did you hear something? Like, how did you get that information?
So it was interesting because like I said, it was 2002, 2003, right in that time period. And um, pretty much I was working for someone else, and um, I had just no business knowledge, no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I looked around and I said, you know what? If I just start my own company and be the best employer, then the rest is going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
The success will happen. And I also saw a niche and a hole in the industry that I knew that I could provide services because there wasn't a ton of competition. But I knew standing out, my draw would be that I was the employer of choice. And
Mm,
so, but there were times where on that journey, like I remember being in the office and looking around and going, you know what? I could do this myself.
mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was even pregnant. And um, then, it was like I'd do the work and then I'd get complacent, and then do the work and then I'd get complacent. Well, in February of 2003, a horrible ice storm hit the Dallas area. And in Dallas, when the storm hits, the whole town shuts down.
Yeah.
And so, but I needed the money because if I didn't work, I didn't get paid.
Right.
And so I got out on the road and I drove around and saw my kids, and the company didn't run payroll that week, that the company that I worked for. And so they weren't going to pay me.
Wow.
And I remember I just put my car and parked on the side of the road. And this was the week after that happened. When I found out, they were like, well, you're going to have to get paid the following week. And my
Mm,
first mortgage was on its way to the bank because back then we wrote checks.
right.
And I just pulled over and I put my car and parked, and tears were streaming down my face. And I was like, all right, God, I'll do it, but I need your help.
Yeah.
Julie, he has been with me every single step of the way. And there have been a lot of hard times,
Mm,
a lot of hard times.
mm,
Um, but I mean, we have had, it's been an incredible, incredible road. So 16 years, we opened 16 years, October 27th, 2003.
mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when we opened, it was just me with 10 little patients. And today we have about 650 employees, and we're in 11 cities over 3 states.
Oh my gosh. Tell us more about KidsCare. We'll come back to the intuition piece because I love what you were saying, but tell us more about the business that you've built.
So I'm a speech therapist by training,
Yep.
and we provide speech therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy and nursing services to kiddos with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been the biggest blessing to be able to make that kind of impact in kids.
Mm,
Um, a lot of times they're from lower socioeconomic statuses, or they may be homebound, or just
yeah.
that wouldn't have services otherwise, and helping them be independent.
And is this so Courtney, is it a nonprofit or it's for profit?
It's for profit.
It's for profit. And so how do you make it available for those that, might be coming from, less income?
Mhm.
And how do you do that?
So they're typically on Medicaid, or their private insurance, or I mean, we do have commercial insurance and private pay as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, it's a service that insurance pays for.
That's awesome. No, I know my stepdaughter has autism
Mhm.
and she goes to a special school, but I mean, I know for her, I've seen a huge shift. She has worked with all kinds of speech occupational therapists, and she is one with low muscle tone and also working on her speech. And I just know from watching the how that's helped her so much. I don't know do you work with, I mean, I know autism is on the rise for
Sure. Hmm.
children with autism, I'm sure with all kinds of different struggles.
Autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome,
Um,
traumatic brain injury, birth defects, congenital heart defect. I mean, just all kinds of little kiddos.
yeah, amazing what you've built.
Thank you.
650 employees, 11 cities and 3 states. And I want to say, like, this idea that it's like it's bigger than you, right? So you're
Oh,
listening and
absolutely.
saying, yes, it's bigger than you. And you started to talk about, there have been hard times, but that I got the sense that you felt really guided and you've had that support. I'd love to hear about this kind of support that you felt, your intuition. How has that helped you? Because I know you don't get to this place where
Mhm.
it's just an easy, yellow brick road. It doesn't you
Never.
no.
I mean, as an entrepreneur, you are constantly on a roller coaster. I call it the entrepreneurial roller coaster, and it is. Even,
Yeah.
there's a saying, or a Winston Churchill, a quote that said, "Success is not final,
Mm,
failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that counts."
that's really powerful.
It
Yeah.
is. And the part that spoke to me the most was success is not final,
Yeah.
because in about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, we were going through, I mean, Julie, I'm in healthcare. I mean, for what the government is or isn't, like, let's just be honest. We have a hard time delivering mail all the time, so like we're going to give them our health care. So,
Right.
but that's enough about that soapbox. But anyway,
Right.
so, but it is constantly changing, and there's ups and downs, and new laws and regulations. And we were going through a really horrible time. And I remember pacing in my kitchen,
Mm,
and it was, I was just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I remember it was 400-ish employees at that time. And
wow.
I remember hearing God audibly speak to me, and he said,
Mm,
"When have I ever not taken care of you?"
hmm.
And I
Wow.
just never, never.
Wow. So because I like to talk about this inner knowing, inner wisdom, intuition. We all sense it and get it differently. So it sounds like for you, it's really audio. It's audio. It's audible. You hear it
Sometimes,
sometimes.
yeah, and sometimes it's just a wash of feeling.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you have any other moments you can, this is off the cuff, but where you've had another, like a wash of feeling, or you heard something and it was a powerful moment for you that you listened to?
You know what? It's so funny that you asked me that today. And I have not audibly heard anything since then, but I was on my way to work today, and we were packing up. We're moving offices because we've outgrown our building.
Right.
And I was listening to a song, and it's called "No Longer Slaves," and it like just I remember driving and thinking and just feeling him saying to me, "You're chosen." And we all are chosen.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Well, I love that idea that we're all chosen to do exactly what we came here to do, and that's unique for each of us. That's so
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And
Love.
just to know that really the hard times, the yucky quicksand, those are the things that we learn from, and that's where we pull our strength,
Yeah,
is knowing that we got through those hard times.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I think of someone like you who's created something so incredible. Um, what is your focus now and going forward? Like what's your vision for the future? Where do you hope to continue to grow, or how would you like to?
Well, we are, according to research that was done by McKinsey along with Lean In, we are more than 100 years away from gender equality at the C level. And that really, honestly, that just pisses me off.
Yeah.
And my goal is to help as many women start their own companies so we can be CEOs today. We don't have to wait for 100 years, because I want to decrease that gender gap
Yeah.
for my daughters who are 16
Mhm.
and 12 right now.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm helping women start their own companies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's something that you're really passionate about, mentoring millennials. And do you have any wisdom? Like, so women that are listening, whatever age they are, what's helped you? I know that I'm sure you've come up against, I'm sure at some point, whether it be inequality or feeling like, what am I doing? Or maybe not taking it seriously. I don't know if you have a story or just wisdom to share how to really step into your power as a female.
You have to be comfortable in your own skin. And it's funny because I'll walk into a room and, I'm 45. I have blonde hair and a Southern accent, and I wear yoga pants most of the time.
Right.
And, and I'll walk into a room and I feel like people maybe downplay or don't take me so seriously.
Yeah.
And, but I don't let their opinion of me affect me. I
Mm,
know who I am. I know who I was called to be, and I am confident in who I am as a
mm,
child of God.
mm. I love what you're saying. I think just thinking for myself and anyone listening, it's really, we make these quick judgments and it has nothing to do with what's really inside. So yoga pants, I'm with you, sister, because I wear them all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah, wear them all the time because they're really comfy. Not always,
Yes.
but all the time. Well, and really what you're saying, and I agree with this, is it's an inside game, and it's so important to know who you are, to know what your passion is and your purpose is. I just think whenever I see, success like this, where you're adding so much value and you have this incredible business model, you've got to be connected to your why. You've got to be connected to who you are. And it sounds like you have a strong one.
Well, and I think sometimes it's even deeper than, we hear know your why, but I think it's even your because. So
Mm,
my why is I want to change the landscape of leadership for women
mm,
because
mm.
they're worth it.
Love.
Because I want my daughters to have equality.
Mm-hmm. Love it. That's so great. I haven't heard that before. It's like know the why and the because.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So
Yeah.
great. Tell us about your TEDx talk and what that was about, and any more speaking coming up, or what's on the horizon for you?
So I do have speaking things coming up. And my TEDx talk, it's funny you asked me about that because that was a few years ago. And I was really not in a good place when I did that.
Yeah.
I was um, not comfortable with who I was.
Mm.
And I'm putting this out in the universe, I would love to do another one.
Well, I understand. I look at one of mine and I'm like, it's gonna happen. I gotta have a third. It's gotta be another one within you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
What other wisdom do you have, Courtney, for men too, but for especially for women that want to start their own business, or even do a side hustle, or it can be it's very easy to compare yourself to others who've done it or gone before you or succeeding and thriving. Any other wisdom or just advice or kind of takeaways that you've learned over the last since '03, but even before or after that you could share?
So when I did my research for my doctoral degree, I wanted to look at the leadership landscape for women and find out why there are so few women leaders.
Yeah.
And I researched the healthcare industry and found that there were four main challenges. But I looked at those challenges and I said, this is not specific to healthcare. This is gender specific.
Yeah.
And so I took that hypothesis and I did informal research for a few years after that. And I found that my hypothesis was accurate. Those four obstacles are actually, what keeps women from advancing their careers. And real quickly, it was family obligations. The second was limited advancement opportunities.
Yeah.
The third was gender-based discrimination. Now, I thought it was going to be the good old boys club holding women back, but there's three facets of gender-based discrimination. The first is stereotypes.
Mm.
Women are damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Mm.
And the second was Bubba. I like to call the good old boys club Bubba's. And he does still exist, but I will be the first to tell you all men are not Bubba's. And they are not the main culprit for holding women back.
Mm.
It's actually women. Other women
Mm.
were responsible for holding women back.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth challenge was the sheer number of women who lacked confidence. It was nearly 80% of the women that I surveyed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's before we start to wrap up, I would love to talk about confidence. I done a lot of life. I did a lot of life where I didn't have it, or I really valued myself based on what others thought of me. And I think there's a lot, especially I think it's changing. The landscape is changing, but anyone in our age bracket probably had a lot of different just norms being a woman growing up, female. And I'm curious what you've studied or noticed, or I'm just curious what you've seen or learned about confidence and how to have more of it. I don't know if you have any
Mhm.
thoughts on that, ways to do that.
It's interesting because there was an Ohio State professor that defined confidence as the stuff that turns thoughts into actions. I
Mm.
thought about that though, Julie, and I said, I disagree because even hamsters in a wheel are in motion, but
Yeah.
that doesn't make them confident.
Right.
And so I have my own theory. And I believe that confidence is found at the intersection of courage, know your purpose, and faith to walk in that purpose.
Mm.
And when those are aligned, that's where your confidence and your power is going to come from.
Beautiful. So the intersection of courage to know your purpose and faith
Uh,
in your purpose,
to walk in your purpose.
to walk in your purpose. I love that. That's awesome. I can see the little like circles, and then
Uh-huh.
in the middle is courage. Beautiful. And
Thank
confidence.
you.
I love that. I love that. Any other last thoughts or words of wisdom or anything that you find inspires you or that you'd like to share with our awesome listeners today?
I think just finding your courage and knowing first your purpose and then creating that action plan to make your dream. So many women, so many people pack up their dreams and put them in a box and then put them on the shelf. And we grow up and we have all these ideas and concepts and then those dreams get packed up and put away. And I think, life is so short. A friend of ours just had a stroke in his 50s and he's
Mm,
fighting for his life. And it's like,
yeah.
take that box off the shelf and dust it off and open it and see what those dreams are.
Mhm. That's awesome. Beautiful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think that's a good wake up call, especially when we have people in our lives with, or if you're struggling with a health issue, it's kind of like, how am I going to maximize my day, myself, this moment? I love
Yeah.
that, to take it off, to take the box off the shelf and dust it. It's beautiful. Well,
Mhm.
Courtney, I have just loved having you here and sharing your wisdom. And I love that you are a successful, empowering, um, collaborative, really, really wonderful, inspiring woman leader. I think the more of us that we have out there, the better. And I love that you're speaking about it. And just congratulations on your, not just your success, but on listening and staying connected to your purpose, staying connected to, your U.est you, and for what you've created. It's remarkable, and it's so inspiring to anybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to see you again.
Absolutely.